Welcome to r/off my chest, where OP's best friend marries his daughter. Our next Reddit post is from Legal Ground. My now former best friend, since as far back as I could remember, is a lawyer, and he owns a big law firm. My oldest daughter, who's now 26, became a lawyer herself, and I got her an internship, and eventually a job at my friend's law firm, which I now heavily regret. My friend has been widowed for over a decade, but I didn't think anything of it. After all, he was my best friend, and I thought that he would take a bullet for me, and I would have done the same. And she was my daughter, whom he watched grow as a baby, and actually came and visited us in the hospital when she was born. They eventually started dating, and I only found out after they got engaged last year. I was effing pissed. She was 25, and he was 54, and he was banging my daughter. We all had a huge fight, and she moved in with him in his house. They got married this past August, and I, of course, wasn't invited to the wedding. I was his best man at his first wedding, and now he remarried my damn daughter. And now I just found out that she's pregnant with his kid. I'm effing furious and hurt, but there isn't anything I can do now. They're both adults and they're married now. I feel like an effing failure of a father. I'm heavily considering disowning her and leaving her out of my will for this. I just need to vent this out here. Oh man, this one stings. If I imagine my current friends now marrying my daughter, who's 4 right now, so it wouldn't happen for decades, I think I'd consider murdering my ex-friend. I would think about it. Our next Reddit post is from Joey Diaz. I share a name with a famous comedian. Because of that, I randomly get emails from strangers who think they're reaching out to him. I used to delete them without a second thought. One morning I woke up, half asleep, and for some reason I replied to one. Just a short, "Hey, wrong person, sorry." I didn't think anything of it, but the moment stuck with me. A week later, another email came in. This one was from a college kid who was clearly going through a lot at home. I don't know what came over me, but I wrote back. Not just a correction this time. I told him some of my own story, more than I've admitted to people who actually know me. I almost deleted it, but I sent it. And he replied with something so honest and grateful that it stopped me in my tracks. He said feeling understood by a total stranger made him feel less alone. And weirdly, it made me feel the same. Here's the part I didn't expect. That single interaction made me look at my own life differently. Especially the part where I'm trying to be a steady father figure to a kid whose real dad walked away. I'm a stepdad, and I've always worried I'm messing it up or I'm not doing enough. But helping that stranger made me realize something I've never said out loud. Maybe all the mistakes and stuff I've been through are the exact things that allow me to show up for this kid the right way. Maybe I'm becoming the man I should have been sooner. It hit me harder than it probably should have. Sometimes redemption doesn't show up with fireworks. Sometimes it shows up in a random email meant for someone else. Just needed to get that off my chest. Our next Reddit post is from Ling Ling. My fiance's best friend called her out of the blue and asked her if I was around. My fiance said no, looked at me, and put the phone on speaker. Her friend then asked my fiance if she was down to have a threesome with her and her boyfriend. My fiance told her, "It's not you, I'm just not comfortable with my body to do that." The friend got upset and rude about it and then hung up. My fiance and I looked at each other like, what the hell just happened? 2 weeks later, that same woman called my fiance back crying, telling her she caught her boyfriend cheating. He was arranging meetups with other men on Craigslist to suck their dong. Bullet dodged. It reminded me of my fiance's other friend, who also caught her boyfriend doing the same thing, going on Craigslist and meeting other men to suck their dong. Am I the only man not meeting other guys on Craigslist to suck their dongs behind their girlfriend's back? In my opinion, both girls were attractive. Definitely attractive enough to keep me from going behind their backs to suck guys' dongs I met on Craigslist. Call me crazy, but I enjoy getting my dong sucked by my fiance more than I'd enjoy sucking some guy's dong I met on Craigslist. It's infuriating this girl would ask my fiance to cheat on me, and when my fiance says no, gets upset at my fiance. She should have gotten upset with her boyfriend for ever coming up with the idea to ask my fiance to cheat on me in the first place. I guess it's ironic that her boyfriend would turn around and cheat on her with random men off Craigslist after asking my fiance to cheat on me. I don't know if I believe this is karma or not, but I'm glad my fiance is loyal to me, and I'm not interested in cheating on her with random guys on Craigslist. Well, OP, I also am on Craigslist, but I'm just trying to get rid of a big old desk I've got. Our next Reddit post is from Dapper Wheel. My wife knows my main account, and we both like to read stories together on different subreddits. I never imagined I would be writing about my life here. Make that my soon-to-be ex-wife. Weeks ago, there was a post about a teen girl confronting her dad and going no contact because his wife openly dislikes her. In the comments, some stepmoms from a toxic subreddit raided the girl's profile to tell her that it's her fault she's being treated that way by her. In the comments, I saw one user being downvoted to oblivion. That user seems to make hating her stepkids her entire personality. The avatar they used was an old picture of my cat as a kitten. My wife and I enjoyed reading Reddit stories and knew each other's accounts, but I guess this was her secret account. I understand venting, but her entire post history is dedicated to how much she hates her stepkids and the baby mama. My ex and I had a very civil divorce, and we co-parent well. I don't hate my ex, but she's a great mom. My wife has told me she wants no interaction with the woman I was involved with, and she was upset when I would go into her house, my old home, to talk with her about our kids. She also told me she was uncomfortable with us having a family group chat, and I stopped to make her happy. My wife had a fallout with my mom last year after my mom called out my wife for the way she acts when my kids are over. My mom told me that my wife is cold to them, goes out of her way to make sure they're excluded, and that I had to be careful. My wife used her anxiety as an excuse, and I backed her. My wife has diagnosed anxiety and said that she was excusing herself when she felt on edge. I was dumb enough to believe her. Turns out, my mother was right about everything. Everything my wife told me about my kids being her bonus kids was a complete lie. She calls my daughter snitchy, B-word itchy, for telling my mom that she thinks my wife hates her and makes her ex out to be some evil, single mom caricature who lives to cause trouble for my wife while demanding money. She even plans on having a no more child support party when my youngest turns 18. Most of my wife's posts are about my daughter. She called my daughter stunted for her doll collection and openly mocks her with her little friends, on top of saying that she has a nothing personality, on top of diagnosing her with bipolar disorder. She sexualizes everything my daughter does and even admits that she was saying ooh under her breath whenever my daughter hugs me goodbye. According to her, my 15-year-old daughter was my surrogate wife until she put a stop to it. Her entire account reads like a jealous witch. When she writes about my son, she uses his first name and makes him out to be some wild brat, but leaves out that he's nonverbal and has chronic health problems due to a past injury. From her posts, it's as if I force her to be their mom, when in reality, we live in another state, and I have them one weekend every month where I'm the sole caretaker. My wife usually spends those days having her self-care days or participates in her solo hobbies. I also found out that she's child-free, something she never cared to share with me. She vents about having to settle for a single dad. Our entire marriage was a lie, and I confronted her with the posts. She says that it was a form of therapy and venting, but I threw that away. I understand venting, but this was months of mocking my family and calling me a bad father. She's asking for another chance, but I told her that I don't believe our relationship will last. I'm staying with my parents, and my ex knows that we'll likely be separating soon. My daughter is smart, and she's caught on that something is wrong. I'll talk to her about it after the holidays and when I get a lawyer. Meanwhile, my wife is texting me like everything will be alright because she deleted the account and says that she'll get help for her social media addiction. I haven't told anyone outside my family what's going on, and I think she's convinced we'll go back to normal soon. All I can say is, Merry Christmas. I thought I had my life partner, but it turns out I was just someone who was settled for. This woman was with me at my lowest when we met in Alcoholics Anonymous, and I thought that we were building a life together. I failed my kids by bringing her into our lives, and I will not have someone who hates them in our home. Our next Reddit post is from The Accountant. I just started a new job, and I decided I wanted to make a good impression by being to the office a little early. So I started coming in between 8 to 8:15. The first day, I noticed I was the first person in, but the rest of the week, my boss would already be there as of 8 a.m. Apparently, he's an early bird as well. So the next week, I arrived at 7:30. Again, I'm the first one on the first day. But the rest of the week, my boss is already in the office before I arrive. I'm truly wondering now, at what time does this guy get to work? So last week, I arrive at 7 a.m. on Monday, and the same thing happened. On Tuesday, my boss was already sitting at his desk when I arrived. So yesterday I asked him, what time do you usually arrive at work, since you're here extremely early? And he confessed that the director demands all managers to arrive before the first staff member arrives, and leave only after the last staff member leaves. So me trying to beat him to the office was forcing him to get out of bed 1.5 hours early to be at the office at the butt crack of dawn, while still having to work until the last team member leaves at around 5:30 p.m. Anyways, tomorrow I'll be at the office at 8:30 sharp. Honestly, I'm surprised that the boss just complied and didn't chew OP out for coming in so early. Dude, take it easy. Let me sleep, please. Our next Reddit post is from OK Abby's. Back when I was 1.5 years old, I had an older sister who was 3 at the time. I don't actually remember any of this, except for what I've been told, because obviously I was less than 2. But what I've been told is that we were playing next to the stairs on the 2nd floor, and I pushed her, and she fell all the way down right on her head, and she unfortunately passed away. My parents absolutely effing despise me and blame me still to this day for it. I was an effing toddler, and they weren't paying attention to us playing next to the stairs. If anything, it was their fault. My dad would beat me all the time, and my mom would say I deserve it. At 16, I ran away from home and cut them out of my life and never looked back. I'm now 33 with 2 toddlers of my own. I understand their grief now because I can't imagine anything like that happening to either of them. But I'm also angry and upset at them because toddlers are stupid and absolutely should not be left unsupervised, especially near a frickin' staircase. If they had just paid more attention, she'd probably still be alive right now and wouldn't have a horrible childhood. These are all true facts. As a dad of a 4-year-old, I can say that the number one most important thing to baby-proofing a household is to put gates on all your staircases so that your kids don't fall to their death. It is the most important step. OP, your parents are morons. Not just morons, they're bad people and morons. And in my opinion, guilty of manslaughter. Or perhaps reckless endangerment. I'm not exactly sure what the specific terms are here, but I do believe they could be tried and put to jail for this. The fact that they even told you this, instead of just lying and saying that the sister randomly fell down the stairs, is nutso. Our next Reddit post is from BGods. I work in a fairly standard office role involving data entry and processing invoices. Every morning, I'm supposed to grab attachments from specific emails, parse the data, enter it into our legacy ERP system, and generate a daily report. It used to take me about 2 hours of mind-numbing clicking every morning. About 6 months ago, I got fed up. I spent a weekend writing a Python script to do it all for me. It connects to Outlook, parses the PDFs, and uses an API to push the data where it needs to go. Since then, my routine has been arrive at work, get coffee, run the script, browse Reddit for 2 hours, then send the all done email. My boss thinks I'm incredibly efficient and consistent. Today, disaster struck. One of our vendors slightly changed their invoice layout. The script crashed with an error that I hadn't handled. I stared at the screen and felt a cold sweat. I realized I didn't remember the manual process. I didn't remember the login path for the specific module in the ERP system because the script handles the tokens. I had to frantically search through my old physical notebooks from my first week on the job just to figure out how to process one document. It took me 4 hours to do what the script usually does in 3 minutes. My boss stopped by and asked if everything was okay because I looked stressed. I told him, just a complex batch of data today. I'm currently fixing the parser at home so I don't have to actually work tomorrow. I feel like a fraud, but a very well-rested one. That was r/off my chest, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit episodes every single day.